So hello and welcome to another Raggy's Beer Review. Gifted to me by my good friend Mark from Dungeon Brewing. You'll see them in years to come. Based in the North Nottinghamshire area, Mansfield type of area. Um, he's a bloke now just on his own doing Dungeon Brewing, and his aspirations are to be a commercial brewer. And he's doing it the right way. Carry on doing your own work. Do the brewing in you know in your free time. Build on what you've got. Get out there. Get your name out there. Try and get some collabs with local breweries. And I pray and hope that the local breweries come forth on this. Some are pretty good, and some just ignore what's sitting in front of them, which is. And yet other breweries from the likes of Bridlington, it's amazing what how the world is at times. It's an eye-opening world, and sometimes you've got something in front of you that, like Dungeon Brewing, and in some ways Raggy's Beer Reviews, you've got something in front of you that can be both good for the local area and good for a much wider area. And yeah, it's sad really, but it is what it is. Can't change what other people think. You know um, I see in the world certain things, and you think to yourself, I'm here. Obviously don't like me, but anyway. So this is Just Desserts from Brewdog. Brewdog, obviously big at shouting out, and you can't fault them. They have produced both good beers and some, yeah, not so. And obviously, a lot of people jump on the Brewdog hate bandwagon, but they've done what they've done. I've never been this thing about the punk IPA thing. I remember when it came into supermarkets, I wasn't overly enthused by punk IPA. It's like, yeah, it's another beer. Yeah, it's expensive as well. But over the years, they've done what they've done, and whether you like them or dislike them, they're certainly worldwide known, and it's a big brewery. So they're very good at doing what they do. So this is Just Desserts, a pecan and toffee stout, hard shell, soft centre. Just Desserts, 7% volume. And this was ridiculously cheap, and it was in Heron, and I think Mark said it was something like 89 pence a can. You really shouldn't even be selling beer for 89 pence a can when it's 7%, because of there is an unofficial ABV thing in the UK, and not even in England. It is in Scotland. It's definitely there. But even in England, you weren't supposed to sell certain ABVs below a certain price. So, am I bothered? No. I got it for free anyway, so don't bother me. But it's interesting, isn't it? I was at Sainsbury's when they brought it in 2013, late 2013. Kind of ruined the job, because all of a sudden we weren't allowed discount on spirits. We weren't allowed to reduce stuff down below a certain price per unit. So it came in all the way back then, stealthily. Don't believe me? Go and ask somebody who's worked for Sainsbury's on the BWS for the last 10 years. They know. I've posted it even before I did beer reviews, because I was fuming about it, Obviously, there were ways around it. Always ways around it. So it's a black pour, this is, with a little bit of a tan head going off. Certainly getting the nuttiness off the pecan on the aroma. Yeah, the toffee slightly sitting in the background. Certainly pecan at the front, toffee behind. Let's dive in. Ooh, looking forward to this one. yeah, both elements are sitting there. For the price, Jesus Christ. Surely it's just, if it's in heaven, surely for me this is an excess stock that they're trying to get rid of. And I've heard that B&M have got Brewdog, and I'm sure it's just, you know, the way they brewed a good amount, and it's just sold off cheap to somebody who wants to come in and buy, you know, X amount of pallets all in one go, you know, 50 to 100 pallets of beer, if not more. And it goes to the likes of Heron and B&M across the country. I would assume that's how it works. I don't know. I would assume. Same thing happened to their beer advent calendars from last year. So not last December, December before. All of a sudden, just before Christmas, they must have been going out of date or out of date by that time. They had an excess amount of their advent calendars, and they ended up in shops. And there was a shop near me. I never got one. I fancy doing a Brewdog advent calendar, to be honest, just for something different. Not because I'm a big Brewdog fan for any reason, just because it's a cheap and mainstream calendar. It is a mainstream calendar, whatever you think of Brewdog. It is one of the bigger calendars out there. And I fancy doing it, you know. I've done a lot. I've done lots of local ones, low cost beer ones. Although, to be fair, the last low cost beer wasn't as good as the first low cost beer. That was a lot better. I suppose it all depends on what beers are in at the time and what's available at the time. Yeah, it was certainly a weaker calendar. And the same with the local ones. The second calendar I had was a lot weaker because half the beers I'd had before. And you're reviewing beers that, you know, I've reviewed at least twice. And it's like, I don't really want to review these beers. Hence why going for something different is what I want to do this time. You know, it is what it is. I might change my mind before the end of the year. I may even not bother with any advent calendars, although I do like the thought of an advent calendar at Christmas, a beer advent calendar. Certainly, I won't be going down anything like Beer 52 route because I was absolutely disappointed with what they did. And like anything, you know, say you're taking a subscription service on, for the first few months, it's got to be tip top, and basically, I know it was basically I only paid for the postage, and it was basically a free one, but it was a crap free one, and kind of ruined it. Been a great one. I would have thought, oh, this is worth me doing this. This has changed my mind. But obviously, the money side of things plays into this, you know. Unless you've got a lot of equity spare, which I certainly haven't. You know, I've got an amount, but we're trying to do a little bit of a few hours on a Saturday afternoon social, and 3 or 4 hours, a few pints, literally 20 to 30 quid a week, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. Flipping heck, 20 years ago, I'd spend nearly 200 quid on a night out on my own. God knows what on. But food, beer, and whatever. So really, 30 quid is nothing in the grand scheme of things. But these days, it is a lot. It's amazing how money. When you're flush with money, it's not so bad. When you're not flush, you know, spending money on certain things, you look and you think, I can't afford to do that again. Even last night, we went out drinking last night, and our friends went home, but Some of our friends went home, the ones we get a lift off. But our other mate who's there, his wife was in London, so kind of felt sorry for him. Didn't want to see him on his own, so we stopped for another hour, probably about an hour, having a drink, having a laugh, and by the time we got the extra beer, cost of more beer, the cost of going into town, the cost of getting home, the cost of a takeaway, because obviously we're starving. And you look at all the costs and it's like, wow, I woke up this morning and I'm kind of stressing and thinking, I can't keep doing that. And, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who looks and thinks, yeah, as much as I love going out, love doing a bit of socialising, there's a point where, I just can't. There's only so much money you can take out of the kitty, and there you go. So I've let this warm up a bit. Toffee really coming through now. The toffee is now above the pecan. Now you see why I do longer beer reviews, because you let something breathe, like a fine wine. You let it breathe. That's a raggy type of beer, that is. It's at room temperature, it would be king. This is shed temperature, but it's not cold shed temperature. Not that I've got my blooming, it's in the house. But I would think it's about 10 or 11 degrees in here. So it's not freezing, but it's certainly not what you would class as room temperature. For me, it's a beer that I think should be in supermarkets. Toffee at the front now, the nuttiness is slightly behind, but longer lasting, and it's changed. It's changed from what it was initially. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. It's a nice beer. Oh, I do like a good beer. It's the only reason I do beer reviews. It's to try something new. Like I've always said, I am a gardener, so a job in beer is not really what I'm looking at. Would the right job come up? If the right opportunity came up, would it be interesting? Yeah, of course. If you've got a love of anything, if something came up that ticked the boxes, that paid the bills, that's the killer. Then yeah. Could I see myself serving people in the micro pub? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm all right talking to people so much, but when you get the element that are kicking off, and it's like, whoa, I'm not into that. I'm not interested in that, and that's where it would be different. It'd be a struggle. Yeah, it would be a bit of a struggle. So, this is a nice beer from Brewdog. If you get the chance to try it, please do so. Keep your eye out on the cheaper supermarkets, your Herons, your Own Bargains, and your B&M, or whatever's in your local area. The cheaper places may see this. It's certainly not in your mainstream supermarkets. Does it deserve a place in those supermarkets? Hell yes. It's a good stout. 7%. It got some kick in it. It'd be stronger than most of the stuff on offer. Priced rightly. I mean, at Heron, it was priced very rightly. But yeah, for me, a good 4.45. But Brewdog, doing some great stuff. And this is stuff that they've obviously produced and they're just trying to get rid of. Hence the price. But yeah, can't fault it. Cheers.